Before working on any firearm, make sure the magazine is empty and removed. Also make sure the chamber is empty and the firearm is unloaded.
Hello folks, this is Sean again with Rock Island Armory. Today we're going to show you the disassembly and reassembly of our 1911 A1 45 caliber match gun. This gun's all built to match specification. This one's our match guns are hand fitted in our medallion department. So each one of these match guns have a lot of love put into them. So first thing we're going to do before we start the disassembly is to ensure that the firearm is empty, that there's nothing in the barrel, no magazine. Okay, once we know that the firearm is clear, then we're going to do the disassembly. Again, you're going to pull back the slide, line up the half circle notch that is underneath the N and the D in island. All right, push out the slide stop. All right, let the slide come back forward. Push on the slide, get it removed from the frame. Okay, then our next step is to remove the barrel and the guide rod and the spring assembly and then the extractor and all that. So to remove the barrel and guide rod and spring assembly, good idea to get you a barrel bushing, especially on the match gun, because it has a match barrel and match bushing, so they're real tight. All right, so you're going to depress, rotate over, keep pressure. You saw how I rolled my thumb over and I kept pressure on the spring. That way the cap doesn't go flying off. Okay, once I got that out, then I remove the spring plug, the spring, and then the guide rod. Set that aside. And then rotate the barrel bushing back the opposite way. All right, push the link down, then push up on the barrel and forward to get it to come out the front of the slide where the bushing and the barrel both come out. All right, the next step is to remove the extractor and firing pin, stop pin, and spring. So to do that, it's a good idea to get you one of these little extractor tools. They're just really nice when you're working on 1911s. They're just, I think they're 20 bucks and they're well worth the investment. So first you're going to do is you're going to push down the firing pin and then slide the stop out of the way, set the stop aside. Then you're going to remove the pin and then the spring. Once those are removed, then we're going to remove the extractor. First I'm going to do is push on the extractor, make sure it's clear from the extractor tunnel, and take my tool from the front and then push the extractor all the way out. And once the extractor's out, then you're good to go. So we got the disassembly of the slide complete. When you're lubing, make sure you clean out the extractor hole and the firing pin hole. Lightly lube in all the recommended areas that we suggest. So we'll set the slide aside, then we'll get started on the frame. Now on the frame, the match model, it also has an ambidextrous safety. And so to get that out, you need to make sure the hammer's back. You got a safe mode on the safety and then a fire mode. I use a small razor blade because it's a nice thin blade. And I put it in the back of the thumb safety next to where the pin that goes through the back of the frame is. I then put the thumb safety halfway between fire and safe. Once I have them halfway between, then I start pushing up and that safety comes right out real nice. Now you got to pay attention, make sure you don't, sometimes this will come shooting out. Got to be real careful, make sure you don't lose the plunger spring assembly. All right, once that's removed, then I go ahead and remove the other side of the ambi. I grip the gun, put pressure with my thumb on the hammer. I press the trigger, let the hammer go forward for it doesn't damage the frame or the hammer or the sear of the weapon. Okay, once that's all done, then we can move to get the mainspring housing off. And to do that, we got to remove the pin. So you can use a small punch. Okay. Then once I got the pin out, then go ahead and remove the punch, set it aside, slide the mainspring housing down a little bit, remove the grip safety, and set it aside that I can finish pulling the mainspring housing off. All right, next step is to move the sear spring. Okay, once the sear spring's off, then we can go ahead and remove the hammer and the disconnector and sear. To do that, you just bring the gun over to the over to the side, remove the pin. Pin will fall right out, allow you to remove the hammer. You can set that aside. Next step is to remove the sear pin. Okay, get it started, grab. 9 times out of 10, sear and disconnector will fall right out. So once we have the sear and disconnector out, the only two things we got left to do is to remove the mag catch and the trigger. Okay, and to remove the mag catch, you got to depress the mag catch, and you're going to have to kind of do it by feel and once you get used to it. But so you got to depress the mag catch. Sometimes it's all the way, sometimes it's just, you know, about halfway. All depends on where that notch is. This one's about 3/4 of the way pushed in. All right, you rotate it counterclockwise, it comes right out. All right, once that's out, then you can remove the trigger. All right, once the trigger's out, go ahead and blow it out. You know, clean. You know, make sure there's no dirt or anything in there. Wipe off your trigger bow. Be careful, really be bending on this thing. So, I don't recommend any lubricant on the trigger bow because that's just going to attract dirt and stuff, and you don't really want any there. So just make sure it's clean and there's no burrs or anything on it. And then now we're going to do the reassembly.